Hey guys, another review impressions video on this game here, The Wonderful 101, a game I had wanted for quite a while on the Wii U. Platinum Games, they always produce quality games, and this to me always looked like a unique game. It always, from what I've seen from gameplay, it always looked like one of the most unique games out there. It is. I just played Super Mario 3D World not too long ago, and I said in that video that was my favorite Wii U game. This gives that game a run for its money. I'm not kidding. Now, the reviews for this game were pretty mixed. I mean, it got mostly positive reviews, but it wasn't a critical hit, and it wasn't a commercial hit either. This game sold quite poorly, unfortunately, and now you can get this for like $30 brand new, which is what I got it for. Which for that, what a deal! Because I fucking loved this game from start to finish, and it's probably my favorite Wii U game right now. Not to say it's a perfect game. There are some flaws. I can understand why some people probably didn't get into it so much. It's got a bit of a learning curve, though not as much as I expected. A lot of people have said that this game was really difficult and hard to get used to. I actually didn't find that, at least on the normal difficulty. I'm sure the harder modes get pretty crazy, but once you kind of understand how the game plays and what you're supposed to do and how the battle system works, like combat, it's not the hardest game ever, and it's actually pretty forgiving in a lot of ways. But yeah, if you're looking for like a hidden gem on the Wii U, this is definitely it. So I guess I'll start with the story, which is probably one of the weaker aspects of the game. You play as this character here, Wonder Red, and you're part of the Wonderful 101, which is kind of like sort of a task force really for Earth, where you save civilians, and in this game you're basically fending off an alien invasion. The Geth Jerk army is what they're called. And this game has a very Power Rangers feel to it. It doesn't take itself too seriously, though sometimes it does. But it's very humorous. You have the story, like, I don't want to say too much on the story, really. I mean, it pretty much is just your typical alien invasion plot, and you can predict a lot of it. But it's pretty endearing. I wasn't into it so much in the beginning, but I kind of got the characters kind of grew on me. I mean, they're pretty stereotypical. I mean, you have like Wonder Pink on your team, which she's like the typical cheerleader type girl that's obsessed with like one of the male villains. You have Wonder Green, he's like the fat, food obsessed French guy. But I mean, they're kind of stereotypical, but they're funny. I don't think the game's humor works 100%. Like, I found it missed more than it hit. I thought a lot of the jokes were kind of I don't know, a bit. They just didn't work for me. It wasn't really my type of humor. It's a bit childish, I thought. But I mean, I love the style of the game, and the Power Rangers style, and just the dialogue can be quite funny at times, and I do like how the game never quite takes itself seriously. And I was actually kind of even getting into the plot towards the end. Even though a lot of the twists are predictable, I still kind of enjoyed them. So yeah, the story, I liked it. It's pretty crazy too. Like, it's very over the top, but it's not the best. It's probably the weakest aspect of the game, but it's enough to keep you going, I think. But the gameplay is, I think, what makes this game so unique, though. And it might be a bit hard to explain it because the learning curve is definitely weird. Basically, it's you play the story mode through missions, like operations. There's, I think, like 9 operations. Each operation has like 2 or 3 missions in it, and the levels are very long in this game. And one of the bad things is that you can't really save in the middle of them. You have to do them all in one go, and these missions can be like 30 minutes long, so that was kind of annoying. But you play through these missions, and you control up to 100 characters at once. You are just controlling Wonder Red, though, and the 100 characters follow around behind you as a part of the Wonderful 101. And you find them through the levels. You can like use an ability to have them join your team, and you can have like civilians join your team, and then you can also find like characters that are a part of the Wonderful 101 to join your team as well. And each character is different. They have their own weapon, and they have their own like they're from a different part of the world, and they have like a character page. A lot of personality there, and I'm surprised they went through all that effort, because all of them are modeled. If you zoom in on all the characters on the screen, all of them are individually modeled. It's pretty crazy. But you're finding these characters, but you really only control Wonder Red, and then, well, you control like Wonder Red, Wonder Green, Wonder Pink. I mean, I think there's what, maybe 7 characters you control, where they each have their own kind of power. So it's like in an overhead view where you control your character and you run around the map. You can like smash objects and stuff, and enemies will drop down sometimes, and it's like each level has like that Platinum Games thing where you might, a bunch of enemies might come and it might say mission 1, destroy all the enemies. You destroy all the enemies, and then it gives you a ranking, and you might get like a medal, like from a pure Platinum medal is the highest, and then the lowest is a consolation prize, which in each of these medals you get through the levels, mission by mission. You have like a total score at the end of each operation, where it's like, oh, you get a pure Platinum medal or a consolation prize. So there's a score element to this game. And if you want to 100% the game, that's where a lot of the challenge would come in, because getting like pure Platinum on every level in this game would be fucking insane. It would take a lot of trial and error too, I think, but I was just fine with beating the game. I'm sure I'm going to come back to this, though. It seems like a game I'd have fun with coming back to it. But like I said before, you control Wonder Red, and he has like a fist power, where he has like a red fist power, and it's like a really powerful power where you attack enemies with melee attacks that way. I mean, the combat is generally melee based, but Wonder Green, for instance, has a gun that you can use, that you can take out and shoot enemies in ranged combat. Wonder Pink has like a whip attack. So each character has their own attack. Now, to use these attacks, to bring out these attacks, you have to use the gamepad or the analog stick to draw a certain symbol. So Wonder Red, his punch ability, if you want to use that, you got to draw a circle on the gamepad or using an analog stick, and it turns into like this slow motion mode, like a slow motion draw mode. They call it Unite Morph mode. So you'll draw a circle and then press A, and then you're controlling Wonder Red, and you've got the punch ability. If you wanted to use Wonder Green and use the gun ability, you draw like a gun, like a square, a line going up and a line going right. So this was a pretty unique way to switch through the different kind of attacks you have, and certain enemies require certain attacks, and there's a lot of variety in that way. In terms of the combat system, there's a lot of moves you can unlock at a shop, where the money you collect through the missions, you can get new moves, which I loved that. You don't get a lot of money in this game. You really got to pick and choose the moves you get at the shop, and unfortunately there are 2 insanely valuable moves that you're going to want to get right away. I don't know why they locked these in the shop, because they're pretty much essential, and that's the counter ability, where you turn into like this jelly thing by pressing the L button and counter enemies' attacks, and then the dodge, which you press R to dodge attacks. You definitely need those 2 abilities. You're able to juggle enemies. The combat is one of those things where at first it doesn't seem like there's much depth to it, but the more moves you unlock and the more familiar you get with the battle system and switching between characters and kind of understanding the different enemy types, the more great it is. Like, this combat system I fucking loved. I thought it was amazing. Like, I thought there was so much hidden depth to this battle system that it never got old to me. Like, every time there was a new enemy or boss, I was having fun with it. Of course, and there's not only combat in this game. What makes it so unique is all the other stuff you're doing. Like, not only is there combat, you might have something like a Punch-Out section where you control a giant robot and it plays exactly like Punch-Out. You have like platforming sections. You have puzzle sections where you're like looking at the Wii U gamepad and doing something on the gamepad, and then you'll be doing something on the TV as well. There's some quick time event type stuff as well. A lot of the bosses are absolutely insane in this game. Like this game has a lot of spectacle to it, and it really blew me away. Like the variety of the bosses. Like you're never doing the same thing twice to kill these bosses and enemies. I don't really want to spoil the gameplay variety in this game, but it's insane. Because not only is the main combat fun, you're doing just so many different things in this game. A lot of them are kind of borrowed from other games. Like you have Space Harrier type sections, which are really fun in this game. Like what surprised me, because generally variety is not always good. I find variety isn't always great. I mean, this game could have all this variety, but all the sections could be done really poorly. But in my opinion, every time this game goes for something different and gives you a different kind of gameplay, it's always good. I thought it was always great. Now, the gameplay is not perfect. There are some flaws. It can be a bit there's some trial and error, especially early in the game, where the game's not perfect at explaining what you need to do. At times, I was really confused what the game was wanting me to do, and I had to actually look up a walkthrough for a couple sections because I didn't know what to do. One instance is with the gun, you can pick up bombs if you walk right up to them and not press anything. And the game I thought was pretty poor at explaining that to you. So there was a section where I got stuck because I didn't know you could pick up the bombs and shoot them back at a boss. The drawing mechanic itself can be a bit sketchy. Sometimes it's I found I got used to it. The second half of the game, I was doing the drawing perfectly. And I do think the analog stick actually works better than the gamepad for that. The glider, there's a glider that you can get that you can fly with. I did where you got to draw a triangle. That I found worked better on the gamepad, but everything else I found worked better on the with the analog stick. And I'd figure out different patterns that worked for me for getting out these powers really fast. So for the second half of the game, I had no problems with the drawing mechanic, though at first it took a while to get used to, and I found it wasn't registering certain symbols like I wanted it to. Like the hammer, you have to draw a straight line up and then a half circle, and that really I couldn't do properly for quite a while, and I was getting frustrated with it, I won't lie. But I think once you kind of understand how exactly it works, and you're able to draw these symbols, it works perfect. Towards the end of the game, I was having no problems, but it's definitely a bit frustrating at first. So yeah, those were about the only things with the gameplay that bugged me. I mean, the game's 12 hours long, it doesn't overstay its welcome, and the ending of this game, I don't want to spoil it, but it is absolutely insane. It's crazy. I mean, this game, it's so much fun to play. I had a blast with it. I said before it's a forgiving game in that sense, where I don't know, I didn't test this, but you might be only allowed 5 continues because it shows that on the results screen. I don't think so, though. I think there's infinite continues, but when you die in this game, you immediately start where you died with a full health bar. Now, and that gets rid. You'd think that would get rid of a lot of the challenge, and it kind of does in a way. Some people might not like that. I didn't mind it so much. In fact, I think I would prefer it that way, because if I had to restart from checkpoints in this game, it probably would have pissed me off more. However, if you die just once, you've pretty much got a consolation prize as your score for that level. They really want you to not die to get the really high rankings, so if you're into that, then that's, like I said before, where the challenge is going to come in. So yeah, I think it's more forgiving than people would expect. Because Platinum Games, they usually make very difficult games, and obviously if you want to get 100%, this game's going to be very difficult, but I found just going through the game, because you resume right where you died, it's not a very difficult game, especially once you kind of understand how to play it. Yeah, that about covers the gameplay. I don't want to spoil the more in-depth aspects to it, but it's really fun, and you gotta use your 100 members to do puzzles at times. You can draw lines from like a building to another building, and your all your 100 characters kind of make like a bridge for you to walk across. There's all sorts of clever shit like that. Like there's a bunch of clever ideas in this game. Like it kind of blows my mind how many like the variety of gameplay here and just how clever it can be. Other than the single player mode, there's like a multiplayer mode with actually it's like 5 people can play it. Where you're just killing enemies in these like short little arena levels. I played it with one of my friends, and we had a good time. Like I actually enjoyed the multiplayer. It's not going to last you very long. Like there's not much to it, but it's actually pretty fun. I thought it would have been nice though to have some bosses. You just kill some enemies in the multiplayer mode. But yeah, gameplay wise, I think that's the strongest aspect of this game, and I definitely love the gameplay. Visuals, I love the visuals in this game. It's got this, like I said before, this Power Rangers style to it, and it's such a colorful game. I've never seen a game that's so colorful. I mean, I don't know. It's a Wii U game, so it's not going to look as good as your, a PS4 game or a PC game, a high-end PC game. But again, it's style. It's visual style over a technical ability, and I mean this game runs at 60 frames per second, so it's really fast and fluid. There's some frame rate drops sometimes, but it doesn't hamper the game or anything like that. But yeah, it's a beautiful game. I love the look of this game. Audio wise, I love it too. I love the music. It's very again, it reminds me of like Power Rangers music or something like that. It's very over the top. It fits the game. So the music's great. Even the voice acting I thought was really good too. Like, it's very humorous. The voice acting is very humorous. But I thought each voice fit each character. Wonder Pink was maybe kind of annoying with her high-pitched shrieks, but the voice acting I thought was generally good. The music's great. The sound effects are excellent. Presentation-wise, this game has a fantastic presentation to it to go along with the gameplay. So yeah, I mean that about covers it. It's I gotta say I wasn't expecting to enjoy this game as much as I did. But yeah, another hit for Platinum Games, and it's such a shame. Like I really should have picked this up sooner, and it's such a shame that this game didn't do too well. I don't think we're gonna see a sequel to this, unfortunately. So yeah, it's a game I'd recommend to any Wii U owner, really, just purely because of how unique and fun it is, and the price is right. I mean, $30. That's a perfect price. So yeah, that's about it. It is interesting too. I'm playing Bayonetta 2 right now, and it's so weird seeing like the similarities between this and that, like in terms of the combat actually, and just how the shop works. But yeah, awesome game. I absolutely love this game. Definitely check out the Wonderful 101. But yeah, that's it. I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.